What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the No Matter What podcast. My name is Sina, my co-host.
My name's Rafa. This is Audrey here. We'd like to introduce her to you. Audrey, let us know a little bit about yourself.
So, my name is Audrey. I will have 3 years clean in March. I have 5 kids. Um, yeah, I have a job. For me, that's a big deal. Having a job and like working and stuff like that. Like that's something that I wouldn't even be able to like say before. Like that's something that I have now and I'm consistently doing now, and it's part of my life.
Definitely.
Okay.
All right. So, when was your first time being introduced to treatment?
So the first time that I got introduced to it, actually, it was my mom. She was in treatment, and as a little kid, I believe when she first went to treatment, I was only about 11 years old, and I used to take the bus to go and visit her on the family days and stuff like that. And that was the first time that I ever saw like treatment and like what it was, and I got introduced to treatment.
What was your observation of it, right? Like what as a kid going into a treatment center, like how did that make you feel?
I just wanted to see my mom. Like, that's something that I was always craving and wanted, like my mom's affection and attention. I didn't know this would be like, I only knew my mom as an addict and how she was on the street. I mean, I saw my mom more out on the street, like leaving random houses and stuff like that than I ever did see her being a mom. So I had no idea what I was going into. All I knew is that I wanted to see my mom, and that meant taking a 10-year-old taking a bus by herself to go and see her, and like to seeing what this experience was. And I remember the first time I went to go and see her, she didn't even recognize who I was. I was standing in front of her for like 10 minutes, and she was right there, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm waiting for my daughter," and I was like, "I'm right here."
So, when you were going to treatment to see your mother, did you ever think that you would be there eventually for you?
Well, I started getting high at a very young age. So it wasn't that I knew that I would be there, but like I wanted to do anything that would keep her attention with me. I wanted to relate to her. And I wanted to like be like what is it going to take? What do I have to do to be like look at me or to love me to like be my mom or so I can be your daughter? Because a lot of my life I always played the more responsible role, and then when I jumped into stuff that was more like going at her speed, that's when stuff would get like messy for me.
So what did life look like during your active addiction?
So during like my so like I said, I started like when I was really young. And but addiction was just a part of me. It was a part of something growing up. So like it didn't seem like it was something very off. Actually, when I first started getting high, I was very successful. I graduated high school at 16. Yeah. I did homework to the max. I sold homework at school. I would write 2 or 3 reports and sling them at school. Be like, you didn't do your homework last night? $10. Shoot it this way. So like I felt like I was very productive, when I first started getting high. And it carried me through with not only school wise, but I was done with my homework and I was still able to go run the streets with the homies and like go outside and like do whatever that I had to do. Because my grandmother, even though she tried to like raise us and try to be there for us, she also battled with cancer for a lot of my childhood. So she was either going to work or too sick to move. So one or the other, I was able to do whatever I wanted to do.
Okay.
So, when was it that you actually went to treatment for yourself now?
So the first time that I ever went to treatment for myself, I already had all of my children. While I met the father of my children when I was 16, and didn't start having kids until I was like about 20 years old. And after having my kids, I was still getting loaded, but I was still being a mom. I was the addict that when my kids, like, before they woke up for school or whatever, I would go and get buy, smoke a bowl and then go upstairs. All right, let's get up, school, let's get in the shower, let's do this, let's do that. And I have 5 kids. And even when it was only I had 2 kids or 3 kids, like my kids are really like back to back. So I was constantly being a mom and constantly being, well, I wasn't his wife, but like I was, I was there and his girlfriend, and so like I was like making sure that stuff still got done. They were at school, the house was clean, the laundry was done, they came home, I had teachers coming to the house because the kids were in early Head Start, like, and dentists. I had so many things that I had to do on my plate that it was just a part of like my life. And me and the father of my kids, we were very toxic with each other. He drank and he, used, I probably used a lot more than he did, but like he drank a lot. Um, when it would just get really bad, we would fight, and my kids would see it, and it would get very like it was just so dysfunctional. But I really felt like I was the problem. If I went and I fixed myself, everything would be better. And that's how it landed me in my first treatment center. I went to the exact same one that my mom went to. That's where starting to go to treatment began. I believe I was like 23 years old or something like that at my first treatment center.
Got you. So how did you feel being in the same treatment center as your mother, right? And being in her position, in her shoes.
I felt like I felt like I was gonna be able to get it right. Like I felt like this is my time where like I get to do it right, and like I get to. Everybody says this too, like that they want to be like their parents, they don't want to be like their mom, or they don't want to be like their dad. And like I really felt like since I was going, and the kids were still so young, and I didn't drag them through the mud like how my mom dragged us through the mud in her addiction. That like they're gonna be when by the time they get old enough, they're not even going to remember this part of their life because my kids were coming to visit me there. And I was having little birthday parties and like all the same things that I did as a kid with my mom. I was doing that with my kids, but I really looked at them and they were such little kids that I was like, they're never going to remember this part because now I'm going to get it right.
Did they?
No, my kids don't remember. No, they don't remember that part, but they sure do remember me leaving and me coming back.
Got you.
So now this is a question because obviously I know you and I know how many treatment facilities you've been to. And I also think it's important to share how many it is you've been through because a lot of people think that, if they don't get it the first time, the second time, third time, that, it's not going to work. So for the viewers, how many treatment facilities have you been to?
I've been to 17 treatment centers.
Now, from the first time to the last time, what changed?
It was definitely me. Like and what it was definitely me and like what I wanted to take from every treatment center provided the same thing. They provided the information that was needed. And they gave us the tools to be able that but it was up to they gave us the tools that we needed to be able to, live a productive life. But I wasn't ready every time. Or I did the steps, not the steps. Like I made the wrong choices and took the wrong steps in after leaving treatment. Like my first one that I went to, I went back to the same people, place, and things. I went back to the home. I went back to the abusive relationship. Everything like I changed, but nothing else around me changed. And eventually, it just went back into it. Every single time I went to treatment, a little bit more information was put inside of me, but I was still not ready to take it or to receive it or to use it and to take suggestions or anything like that. I figured that like as long as my mind got better, that I was going to be better. And then like by the time I hit maybe treatment 7, I finally was like, you know what? This is just a place for me to get my mind clear, and then I'll be able to hit licks better. Like, because my mind is like clear and it's not as scrambled as it was when I was out there in the streets, like every time was different, but every time it was the more information that was put, but it was totally up to me when I was ready to accept it.
So when did things start to feel unmanageable? Because you did mention you've been to a lot of treatment centers, right?
Mhm.
So you would think that if we go to one treatment center, we'd be like, hey, I my life is just completely a mess, and it's completely unmanageable to the point where this is going to be my last one, right? So when did things start to feel unmanageable for you to understand that, hey, I can't keep using anymore?
My life was unmanageable. From a child, my life was unmanageable. So it was not, I don't think that it was me finally being like, "Oh, my life is unmanageable." It was me coming to a realization that I can actually change, because I've always lived, I've learned how to like be resilient to get through everything. Like, this is just what my life is. I'm going to keep on having like things just keep coming my way, or like, situations just happen, and believe me, totally victim in my head of of like what my situations are, what kind of cards I was dealt, like totally just like believe that like this is my life. Like, I'm meant to struggle, I'm meant to be in pain, I'm not meant to be loved correctly, I'm not meant to like that's just not the cards that are dealt for me. So when it came to a point where I was like, when I finally was ready to take treatment seriously, I had already been away from my kids for 5 years, homeless, living out of a tent, had just got out of jail. And when I was in jail, when I first left the home with the father of my kids, like there was so many times that I had tried to leave with my kids that I just finally came to the fact that like I wouldn't leave with my kids because I couldn't take care of them. So when I decided to leave, that night I became homeless. And I started having to learn how to live on the streets. So when I became homeless, then it that was just a release of everything, because I was always taking care of everybody else, taking care of my kids, taking care of everybody, So when I went on the streets, I was like hair let down, and this is just what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make the best out of living out here, And when um like going through the cycle of living on the streets 5 years, and I'm saying like not talking to my kids, not coming in and out of their lives, because I didn't want to be like how my mom was. So I didn't want to come in and out of my kids' life, say that I'm going to get better, not get better. I was gone for 5 years, and I had pictures of my kids all over my tent. Like I said, I had just gotten out of jail, and when I was in jail, I had reached out to the father of my kids, and I told him, look, at like when I get out, can I start seeing the kids again? And at this time, he had 5 years clean, because went to treatment right after when I left the house. So he had 5 years clean, and he was like, yeah. He was like, if you're clean and you like are able to show up for the kids, like I'll start letting you do that, you know? And I started having this whole like routine. I would see them on Saturdays. So that means on Thursdays, I got to figure out where I'm going to shower, and I got to figure out where to get some clean clothes. I got to make sure that I'm ready, because I also can't get, the last day I can get high was on Thursday. Friday, sleep, try to get as clean as possible, and like get those clothes that I had to the side, and look as presentable as possible. And then Saturday, spend time with the kids. And luckily, when I started doing that, like my kids embraced me with open arms. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't mommy right away. It was Audrey, it was questions, all this stuff, but they did want to spend time with me. But I know that when I kept on doing that, it was working out for that little routine for a few months. One day, my youngest daughter, she's one of my twins, she said, Audrey, when can we go and see your house? And that was absolutely the turning point of, I can't keep this up forever. This is not something that I can do like all the time, to have a relationship with my kids. Like, they're gonna start asking questions. They're gonna want to know where I'm at. That, like, like as it is, she like their dad is already saying that they can't go when he goes to drop me off, because he's dropping me off at the tents. Like they're starting to ask questions, and I'm like, man, I can't keep doing this. And I think that that was really the point where it clicked, where I had a little bit of hope that maybe if I do it this time, I have a light at the end of the tunnel that like will keep me pushing a little bit forward, because I had never had that before. I didn't have all the other times that I was going to treatment once I had left the home was just dead end back to the streets after I was done.
Yeah. So, was there anything in treatment that surprised you, made you worry, made you feel that it was not possible to do?
I don't think that I ever felt like it wasn't possible, but what I did feel like is that I wasn't able to leave the relationships that I had out there. Um, I'm like, I got into a relationship with somebody when I was out there on the streets, and he was my everything. He taught me how to live on the streets. He taught me how to be on the streets. He taught me how to hit licks and make money. Like, he taught me everything out there, and that relationship, plenty of other treatments that I had went to before went left or graduated and went right back to him, try to make it work. And that was just as much as an addiction in itself as it was for actually the actual drug. So staying away from him, that was hard. Or feel like I left him behind. That was even harder because I have a really big heart, and that's always been like, I have such a big heart that it's like like I would say like it's like a defect to me, because then I'm caring more about other people than I care about myself. And that drug me back a lot, plenty of many times. And that really made me feel like I couldn't do it.
So when you got out of treatment this last time, did you ever have that thought or that sense of like, maybe I should go back to my old behaviors, like hitting licks, right? Like, I'm doing what you used to do, but being clean?
I did. I did. Like, I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, I did. Like,
You know what's crazy before you begin? Like, we laugh at this. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, we laugh at this because like we look back and we're like, damn, like how in the world did I ever do this
yeah,
clean? You know what I mean? Like, but okay.
yeah. I totally did. Like, when I got out of treatment, well, when I was still in treatment, I did the things that were suggested this time, and I got a sponsor, and and I started taking some suggestion, and I would listen to her, but also I would keep my own secrets, keep my own of what I was doing. But I really did want her guidance, and I really did want, but also I wasn't ready to let go of certain things. And when I first got clean, I had the little job. It wasn't the best, but it was money in my pocket. I was able to get myself a little car, and as soon as I got that car, back to Pomona, back to where it was at, back to him, and trying to work this out. Like, but I'm clean, and I'm gonna try to figure this out with me being clean and being in acceptance of what his life is. You know, at 6 months clean, my dad dies.
Damn.
And so not my well, yeah, I called him my dad. He basically raised me since I was a kid. He was my brother's dad, but he died. And when he died, I had so many feelings and emotions, and like just like the last things that he had said to me, because my dad was in his addiction before he died. And like one of the last things he said to me was, I wish you were never my daughter, and I absolutely hate you for what you've done to me and your mother. You know, and at that time too, me and my mom were running the streets together, and like dad, like he blamed a lot of stuff on me for my mom's for whatever my mom was doing. So like I had a lot of things that were bothering me, and I went to my ex for comfort. And while I was doing that, because I just had like this little job that didn't pay me that much and stuff like that, I started hitting licks with him clean, and to make a little bit of extra money. And not telling my sponsor what I was doing, and like making all these excuses. But I started noticing, like, this doesn't I didn't sleep well at night. It didn't sit well with me. And I knew that if I continued doing it, I was gonna end up getting loaded again. And I'm already starting to get my kids on a consistent basis like at this time. So like I'm living two lives, and it was really hard for me to handle.
Got you.
So right there, it sounds like you had the moment of clarity, right? You were like, I can't do this no more. So, in what part in treatment did it finally click? Do you remember the part where you were in treatment and you say, you know what, this is really what I need to do. This is the lifestyle I need to change. Because obviously there you're talking about it, something that it clicked. It didn't sit well with you. So
Yeah.
the moment of clarity, do you remember in treatment when it happened?
In treatment, the moment of clarity was when the first time that the father of my kids brought the kids to come and see me. He brought them. And I was still on blackout. I didn't have no visitations or anything like that, but it was Easter, so they let everybody have visits, and they let everybody have people come to visit them. So like I remember when she said, "It doesn't matter what stage you're in, what phase you're in, your families can come." I started crying. And I was like, "Oh, I get to see my kids, and I get to make a phone call to call them and let them know that like they could come." And actually seeing them come and interact with me and just like being able to play with them clean, that was a big like, I can do this. I have to do this. I want to do this. This is totally obtainable for me.
Got you. So what part of treatment had the biggest impact?
So I did there was a class that I had took, and it was about for people who have passed away, within like people who have passed away and who it's been really hard for us to let go. And it was like a whole class on mourning and grieving and everything like that. And there was a lot of stuff in my past that I really had to like let go. Like I had my grandmother die. I had one of my homeboys that I grew like he was just like a brother to me. He committed suicide and shot himself in his head in front of me, and he died in my arms. And like I had like a lot of stuff, like with my dad hadn't passed away yet when I was in treatment, but he was in the hospital. And I remember being in Pomona, and I can see the hospital right from the little abandoned shack that I was staying in. I could see the hospital, but I couldn't put the pipe down long enough to go and visit him. And I had the opportunity to see him or to say that I'm sorry or that I love him or whatever, but because I couldn't miss taking a hit, and I had a lot of, and I had like, I felt it in my heart that my dad's not getting any better, but now I'm here and I can't leave here to be there with him. So I had a lot of guilt about that too. So I think that was one of the classes that like really gave me a perspective of like, oh, there's stuff wrong with me. And there's things that I need to get over, and there's things that I hold myself back.
So, how do you use things that you've learned in treatment in your everyday life now that you're coming up on 3 years clean?
I mean, the best advice that I got in treatment that saved my life is get a sponsor and work steps. Like, cause now, that's how I learn and that's how I grow and that's how I know that what's going on with me and how I react to things, and taking accountability for for everything that I've done, not being that word accountability. Like I have to own up to what it is that I did and understand how I react to certain things, and understand what part I play in everything. And being a victim was something that I cut out right away, because I knew that that was something that I had a problem with, is like always being like, well, this is just the shit hand that I'm dealt. So I'm just gonna, pour me, pour me, pour me. And instead of being like, you know what, I can change this.
So how did structure, routine, and accountability help you? Because you talked about structure, you talked about routine, making sure you do everything to see your kids. Right? How did those particular things assist you in your life?
I mean, that's one of the things that I loved about treatment is the structure. And I've wanted structure since I was a little kid. That's something that I've always wanted. Instead of going to the kid, since I was the kid that people hung around with because their parents let them do whatever they wanted, I wanted to go to the kid's house that their family wanted them in by 5, dinner on the table, homework done, wake me up at the right time. I've craved structure. And like whenever I would go to treatment, I would be able to do it. But not only that, but I would be able to achieve those goals. Making my bed in the morning, going down at a certain time to take my medication, being at dinner at a certain time, being at group at a certain time. Like all those things were small, obtainable goals, but they made me feel good that like I can do this. Like I'm not just a complete piece of shit. Like I can actually keep up with the routine, and I can do this.
What do you think is the biggest misunderstanding of treatment? Because a lot of people, let's just be completely honest, a lot of people just think treatment something you're going to come, and a lot of people do use that. Oh yeah, it's 30 days, or you said I'm gonna come and get my head right. What is the misunderstanding that a lot of people have about
They
treatment?
say it's the treatment center, or it's like that's that victim shit. Like it's the treatment center that I went to. It's the staff that was there. It's the programming that it was like. No, it's not the fucking treatment center. It's you. It's you. And like you have to understand that you don't want it bad enough to be able to receive what they're giving you, because every single treatment center that I went to gave the same information. It was up to me take it.
To
And
obtain
don't
it.
get me wrong, like even I went to treatment center. I went to a treatment center when it was COVID, and that was locked down. Only 2 groups a day, like in your room with your roommate. Tired of her, but if I sit down and I listen to those groups and what information they're giving me, that still left me with something. Even if I wasn't ready after that, like like the same information is being given to me. It was up to me to want to take it.
Yeah. How did you handle cravings, triggers, and self-doubt, after you left treatment, after you left a structured environment, a controlled environment?
I really kept myself busy. I was as soon as I got out of treatment, I was like one thing after another thing after another thing. The thing about me is when I get clean, things come fast for me. I got my own apartment when I was 7 months clean. That's how fast I got my own apartment. I had a car. I had a car by the time I was 3 months clean. But that's just like the hustle that I have inside of me to keep going and use the resources available. That's something I did out on the streets. I did that kind of stuff out the streets. Use the resources available, talk to the people who I need to talk to. And there was a lot of switching of like what it was that I did on the streets to switching it into like how I want to live my life in recovery.
I like that. I like that. 'Cause, my sponsor, man, in the beginning, I didn't want to go to meetings. I didn't have a car, you know what I mean, at that time. And he hit me, man. He hit me with, if I was your dope man,
Yeah.
you would take 50 buses to me. You would figure out how to get to me. But when it comes to recovery, like you fall short,
Yeah.
and this was in the beginning, and that lit a fire under my ass.
Yeah.
That lit a fire under my ass. And then the only reason is because, yeah, I would wait for the dope man for 6 hours and he would come 7 hours, 8 hours later. You know what I mean? And I can't be patient, or I can't sit still in a meeting and hear a message that's probably gonna save my ass.
Yeah, and if you can't get to that dope man, then you're gonna call up another dope man and you're gonna go there. Even if the dope ain't as good, you're still gonna go there. If you can't get to that meeting, go to that meeting. It might not be as good as the other meeting, but go to it. Like you're still getting to a meeting. I would walk barefoot across town for a sack. Why wouldn't I do everything that I have to do in order to keep myself well? And I really did see it like I really did see it like that. I really did see it as like my sponsor was my connect. Like she gave me everything that I needed, all the information that I needed. My step work were my licks. In order for me to be able to get what I need to hit a lick in order to get that money to get what I need. And that was what my step work was. And the people I surround myself was the encampment that I lived in. That's everybody that it's like, what do you got how can we help each other? You got the sawzall, I got the car, let's roll together. Like that was what my life was. And now like the people that I surround myself today, like how do I get through this? Or I'm having trouble in this area, like being able to call and to reach out. And it helps talking to other people and understanding that I'm not alone, or even if they don't even know what I'm going through, like they just listen to me. I have a friend that she doesn't have no kids, and she always tells me when it comes to like when I'm talking to her about my kids, she goes, "I'm not a parent, so I can't give you advice on this, but I sure will listen to everything that you got to like talk about." And she'll let me talk her ear off.
It's all about just changing our perspective and thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, just like how you said, I mean, your dope, your sponsors, you need dope, man. I mean, again, it's changing the way we think. That is the key part of it. Because again, our disease centers in our thinking. Such a simple program, we already know we complicate this. We complicate everything. Just like Sina said, I don't really feel like going to meetings. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but if we really wanted it, I was always taught, go after your recovery like we used to go after our dope.
Yeah.
And I know I went after my dope hard. If I didn't have no money, didn't matter. I would figure out how to come up on some money to get it. It's the same thing. That's what I love about recovery and everything. Is just it's a beautiful thing. So if you were to give yourself, now coming up on 3 years, give yourself some advice to the you going into treatment for the very first time, what would that advice be? Because this is the thing, there's a lot of young people going into treatment now, and it's a lot harder to get through to the younger generation because let's just keep it a buck. When we were young, we thought we knew it all. So what would you give yourself right now, advice when you're first going into treatment?
I mean, trust the process, and trust the process. But I also really believe that every single time that I relapsed, or every single time treatment didn't, that I came out and I ended up using again or something like that, like it was meant for that to happen to me. Like it was meant that had every single experience with every single different treatment center, everything that I did afterwards, like the realization of like every time that I went back, because they made me the person that I am today. Like when I was in the last treatment center that I was in, I had to really look back at every single time that I tried this, and I failed. Because honestly, when things come too easy, it's a lot easier for you to take it for granted and let it go. You know? Um, I mean, if I would have taken a sponsor and started step work my first time around, I wouldn't have experienced all the things of being out on the streets and going in and out of jail, and then I won't have that like experience of those are my consequences today. Those are the things that like that will happen to me. Like, no doubt in my mind about it. I wouldn't be the mom that I am today. Like I wouldn't be the person that I am today without all those fails that I had at everything happened the way it was supposed to happen. I am really grateful for everything that I went through in my addiction, because that made me who I am today. And I know what consequences are waiting for me, and I don't want them. There's no comparison. Like today, I am reliable. My kids know that I'm going to be there if they say that if they need me. My kids call me mom today. They don't call me Audrey. I have a job. I am a productive member of society, and I pay taxes, and I take responsibility. I do the right thing when I'm supposed to. Like I work from home now. Like I'm to a point now where I get to work from home. And from 8 o'clock until 4 o'clock, 4:30, I am working. Like even though I'm at home, I don't have nobody micromanaging me. I don't have nobody hovering over me, but I do what I'm supposed to do. I also am in my job right now. I help with housing, and I help the homeless community. And it's a constant reminder of where I was, because I was that person in that line with no shoes, that smelled, that couldn't stay in a line long enough without getting high. Like I was there. Understanding that, like, no, they don't need canned foods. They don't have a can opener. Unless we're gonna pass out can openers, we shouldn't be giving them canned food, because they're gonna throw them at each other. Like it's just like, like I'm at a level where I can understand every single, like where I'm not sympathetic to anybody, but I'm very empathetic. I understand where you're at.
So you said something, and I'm just gonna I want to ask this. You said productive member of society,
Yes.
right? What is that? What does that mean to you right now? What does that mean?
I have a calendar. I have a schedule.
Yeah. You already know.
I have a calendar. I have things that I have to do, places that I
So
have
proud
to
of you right
be.
now.
I know places that I have to be, and I do what I say that I'm gonna do.
So when we were out there getting high, right, ripping and running, instead of being productive members of society, like we were menace to society.
Degenerates.
My favorite word, degenerate to society. You know what I mean? So like now we switched our lives and our thinking and our behaviors, right? And and now we're productive members of society, which is insane.
Yeah.
You know,
Who would ever think that somebody like me, like I could walk into a store today and not get looked at or stared at or followed because I'm gonna steal something.
That's nice.
Like I get like
I don't know.
and I get to do
That's
that.
nice.
oh, it must be nice.
Yeah.
It is
Must be
nice
nice.
to be able
I
to
still
do
get
that.
looked at.
I'm a regular person, like
Well, I have too, but I still get
You
looked
too.
at. Yeah. I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
They take
I don't know
one
if
good
it's
look.
Especially
the bald head or the tattoos. I
they
don't-
took one good look at me and they're like, oh,
yeah, I still get the lady that does the toot toot when you're passing by the car. I still get that. You know. Yeah, trust me. I still and my disease still kicks in, and it's like I should go rob it. You know.
gets left on your clothes and you walk out and the buzzer goes off, right?
God, forget about it. It's crazy. That still happens to me, and I right away like turn around and they're like, "Oh no, you're fine, sir." I'm like, "Oh, this is
Set up.
yeah." No, and then I'm like, "Oh, that's the productive member of society part right there." Because I actually could walk away, and because I got a receipt too, a real one that they gave me, not that I made up. Exactly. So do you think that anybody could get treatment?
I absolutely think that anybody can get this. I just think that it's up to how long it's going to take them, and that's on them. Like they have to want it. They have to be willing to take in the information, and they have to. I'm absolutely like and we hear this a lot. It is not a temporary thing. It's a lifestyle. It's not just a choice that you make. And this is how it it's a lifestyle, and it's about all the things. What are you willing to give up to have this better life? If I keep all of this stuff in my hands from everything in the past and not let it go, then I'm not going to have no room to catch new things and new blessings and new responsibilities. And my life is not just. There's stuff that comes up in my life that's like hard. It's hard, There's some ups and there's downs.
Life
And
on
it-
life terms.
especially when it comes to my kids or when it comes to finances or when it comes to things that I have to remember that like if I'm doing the right thing, good things are gonna happen. I'll go hide from it. And I gotta talk to him in the way that I talk to him. It may not be like positive, but talk to him because I will be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this doesn't make any sense, but I'm gonna trust that this is what needs to happen, and sometimes I struggle with that too. I struggle giving up the driver's seat of my own life and like letting him take the wheel, I struggle with it a lot, but I've noticed that when I finally do let go of it, it things that I would have never thought happen to me.
All right.
For clients that do complete treatment, okay, they're going out to the real world. Because one thing I like to say is obviously when we come into a bubble of treatment, we are in the treatment's basically cocoon, right? So what do you suggest for the clients that complete and are going back out to the real world?
I really think that like having a plan, having goals, having things that you're working towards and like where you're gonna go. Like what are you gonna do? Because like I said, there was plenty of times where all I went back to is the street. I wasn't ready to let go of him. I wasn't ready to let go. Like I had this fantasy in my head that like we would be able to fix it as long as I'm clean, he'll get clean. Like I had to have a plan of what it was, what were my next steps. And farther than just RBH or just that like okay, RBH is for so long, but that means I have to get a job as soon as I get out of here because I'm supposed to be saving to be able to do the next step. What's the next step? So is it sober living? Are you going to go back to your parents' house? Does it look like a good idea to go back to your parents' house? Like having a plan of what it is that you're going to do. And I really believe that if you're right there like, oh no, I'm going to just be clean. Like it doesn't work like that. That does not work like that. That's not realistic. Try again. And that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna end up trying again. We'll see you again,
If they make it back.
If they
And
make it back, which is insane. The name of this podcast is called the No Matter What podcast. What does no matter what mean to you?
It means that I don't have to use no matter fucking what. But
See, she using no
there
fuck matter what.
Hey,
It's
hey.
a fucking part.
but like I remember one of the hardest things that like my sponsor, she came to pick me up one day and I was still in treatment and we were going out and she was like we were talking about what this no matter what means, and asked me, she goes, do you ever think, she goes, God forbid, but what I want to show you is like what you can get through without using. She goes, do you think that right now if one of your children passed away that you would be able to get through that without using? And I was like, no, I can't even leave the boyfriend. I can't even think about something happening to me, to the guy that I was out there on the streets with without using. Like, no way. Like, no, And she was like, that is our goal, is to get you to that place where you can face anything, no matter fucking what. No matter what. You can be able to get to that place where using is not an option. And as time has went on, like I can really see, like, anytime that I've had a problem, using is not going to make this better. It's going to make it worse. It's going to be in my head. I'm going to like nothing. There is nothing that I can't face that using is going to make it better. It's not going to make it better. It's going to make it so much worse on me because I am emotional when I'm getting loaded. Like, why? Like, like I'm emotional. I'm emotional. I'm not callous to it anymore. Like, I'm going to feel feelings. I know about the program. Like, it's like I'm gonna just be being victimizing myself, making myself feel even worse than being in the solution of what it is that I need to do to get through it, you know? And if I used, I would isolate myself from anybody. So whatever problem that I'm having, I would fight it alone, and I would probably end up dying, like just trying to figure out getting loaded is not going to make nothing better.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming out, man. This is a blessing to hear your message and to see where you came from and where you are today. Um, Raphael speaks highly of you. And I know your sponsor would be very proud of you. For the viewers, listeners that are listening, if you or your loved one are struggling, if you're listening to this message and you are in need of help, there are links in the description below. Please feel free to call someone, to message someone. Please feel free to leave a comment, and one of us will get back to you. Thank you, guys.